Always take a step back and start off by what is it that we're doing. Let's take fracking. Okay, we're fracking, we're going about it this way, that way, and try to guesstimate every step of the way where there is a risk, where there can be an exposure, and ask yourself and ask your staff, are we covered for that risk? Are we covered for that exposure? I'll give you an example. I think that there may be a gap in coverage for fracking. And I hate to bring it back to this, but I think the gap involves gradual pollution. You get pollution coverage for boom type events under your GL policy or your owner's extra expense policy. Everybody sees a boom when it happens. But what if there is that situation that this material gets on the ground and leaches gradually over time? There is no pollution coverage for that. How do you protect yourself? There are some standalone, so-called environmental standalone environmental pollution policies out there that tries to fill that gap. That if you, for example, you drill the well, you frack, you collect the stuff, you get the gas and the oil out, you even get the fracking fluid, and we're talking millions and millions of gallons of fracking fluid to make that kind of bedrock explosion underneath. And what some companies do is that they collect that and they put it in, they call it waste wells. They put the fluid in the waste wells and it sits there. What if that stuff leaches over time and 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it gets in the groundwater? And you have a whole community of homeowners that are adjacent to that waste well. What do you do then? There is a donut hole in that regard. And there are some products out there that this standalone pollution policies that tries to fill this hole for gradual pollution. I don't think it's being aggressively marketed, nor I don't think people are making enough use or availing themselves to that product out there, because this new wave of fracking is still relatively new. It's a few years old. Granted, the technology was around for a long time, but to this extent hasn't been used. Now that it's being used, people need to look at what's going to happen 10 years down the road. Do I have coverage under my existing program for gradual pollution? And I bet you 9 out of 10 risk manager will walk away and say, I do not have coverage for gradual pollution. And that could be an exposure that they need to be mindful of and look into these products like a standalone pollution policy that focuses, zeroes in on that gap and fills that gap in order to protect their company.